Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Welcome back. What's up, Boogity? Nicholas, is that you? How you doing, man? Welcome back. Welcome back. All right, guys. Give me one quick second. I'm gonna just make sure I got everyone's chat real quick. Um, just want to make sure we are good to go. Make sure we are good to go. We'll pop this out. Is that Nicholas? What's up, Nicholas? Welcome back, man. Pop out. Okay. Docs. Chat. Okay, now we're good to go. Now we're good to go. All right, guys. So today we're gonna be doing a dating talk. The main topic for today, is dating and money. First, so I want to introduce you guys to my co-host for today. Her name is Sam, aka Samantha. Samantha, introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hi, my name is Samantha. I'm a speech language pathologist grad student. I am a single mom and I am recently separated and have just recently kind of dipped my toes in the dating scene, and it has been a wild ride so far, to say the least.
A wild ride. Okay. Tell me a little bit about the wild ride. What do you describe as a wild ride?
So, from what I remember, dating apps were not really too big of a thing when I was, pre-marriage. So now,
Hmm.
just even trying to navigate that, from building your bios to the people that you end up matching with. I've definitely come across some characters for sure. Just the whole game of it in general, the push and pull of it, and uncertainty, and there's just so much that I didn't expect
Yeah.
um, when I was going into it.
Yeah. Dating has drastically changed over the years, hasn't it?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I remember, you used to be able to just go to a bar and, strike up a conversation with somebody. And now even that, you go somewhere and everybody's just kind of hanging out in their own little pockets, and there's not really a lot of socializing going on
Hmm.
unless you've already premeditated to meet somebody there, I feel.
That's fair. Or unless it's 1 a.m. in a bar, everyone is super drunk, then you just start talking to anyone.
There does come a time in the night.
Fair, fair, fair. I do realize that after when you hit the fuck it point where you're tipsy and you're like, you know what, fuck it, I'll go talk to someone. So, as a bartender, I see that a lot.
Absolutely, I agree.
All right, so let's go into our first topic for today. So, chat, there's this viral clip going around, and it's basically this lady saying, if you're not making $50,000 a year minimum, you should not date. Okay, Sam, what are your thoughts on that?
$50,000 for one person, I would say would be enough to live off of. However, if you are going into the dating scene, there is a lot of expenses that you have to take into consideration.
Uh-huh.
That 50K will dwindle very, very quickly. Very quickly. I mean, you're taking people to restaurants and picking up the tabs, Uber rides, even, you sit there and you get tested. How many times do you have to pay for that just to be able to make sure you can stay afloat in the game?
Sheesh. Sheesh. Okay. So let's break everything down that you just said, right? Let's just start with the first date specifically. And how much should a first date cost? Like, how much does one should expect to pay for a first date?
I think it depends on where the date is.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen that a lot of people are very on the fence about coffee dates. I think that they're actually a great idea.
Okay.
But the problem is so many people are expecting it to be something where you're getting wined and dined, and they like women don't want to think chivalry is dead. So we need you to set yourself apart from everybody else by doing these huge like extravagant things, and the vow statement, you pick us up, or you order a car, and then you have the dinner. Are you
But
going to
isn't
bring
that
appetizers? Do you
unrealistic
have
though?
drinks?
It's a first date. Why am I going all out on a first date? I don't know you. So shouldn't it be like right now in the chat, Boogity says a first date should be something you do free, right? And the only thing I can think of that's free is if you go for a walk in the park, right? But also, I'm in New York City, so it's cold. I don't know how long you expect to be walking around in the cold. But again, it's a first date. Isn't it supposed to be low cost? You're both going in 50-50. You don't know if there's a vibe. You don't know if there's chemistry. So why am I doing all this extravagant things right away when I don't know you?
See, and that's where the whole dating thing is so skewed because not a lot of people go into it with that intention. And that's where the issue is right there. You can make 50K, but the girl's not thinking about that as much as, hey, I need something to eat tonight as well. And if I'm going to be sitting there and giving my time to somebody that I don't know that is a stranger, what is it like? What is it going to do for me? How does that benefit me? Like, am I at least going to walk out with some leftovers? Or, like if it
Wow.
doesn't go anywhere, do I at least have lunch in the morning?
Wow. See, I think that's what's so fucked up about dating. It's so monetized. It's so transactional. It's what can I get from this? What can you do for me? Right? And isn't the whole point of it so the person likes you not for your money? Isn't the point the person likes you for who you are?
I agree. And like I said, that's why I'm so on the fence about this. Personally, I feel like it's almost like you're putting on this front. Like you're not really showing your true genuine self. Unless you plan on keeping up with that throughout your entire relationship, it really is you can't keep up with that. I mean, that's where the 50K comes in. That's going to be gone real quick if every single time you go on a date, you're taking them to dinners or you're going to see shows. Like think about it. In reality,
Yeah.
2 years into a relationship, are you still doing that? Are you still giving them flowers every time you
No.
pick them up? Are you still
No.
paying for the cars?
You're
You're
not
not.
because it's
And
not sustainable. Nicholas,
time
welcome
on the
back.
other
Nicholas,
side of
welcome back. No, you're absolutely right. It's not sustainable. That's why a lot of time the chivalry part it starts really high. You know, the attention and everything starts so high, kind of like in a love bombing phase, and then when you go 6 months down the line, a year down the line, it fizzles out. You're not always gonna maintain that peak of like courtship. You know, that's why you have to start small, build big. Doesn't that make more sense?
See, the problem is, I'm not sure how it is for guys on dating sites, but for women, our sites are it's so oversaturated. There's so many people. I look at mine and I have like over 10,000 likes. I can't even begin to start sifting through it. So, in that respect, you kind of have to do
Wait, wait,
something
wait, wait, wait,
to
wait.
set yourself
You
apart.
have over 10,000 likes?
It says 9,999 plus. So, they stopped counting at that point.
Wait, wait, wait. Can I ask the chat? Yo, Nicholas, Boogity, how many likes do you have on your apps? Listen, I don't even think if I have about what 6 to 8 apps. If I combine all the likes, I will not even get anywhere close to that. Are you fucking kidding me? Do you see the difference between guys and girls when it comes to these things? Boogity says he has 2 on Tinder, zero on hit. Bro, me too, bro. Me too. Oh my god. All right, all right, all right. Let's talk about the expensive part, right? Let's just give it a female perspective. Let's just say your last 10 dates, right? On your last 10 dates, how many have you actually paid for?
I think I paid for my own car rides to and from, if that makes up for anything.
Okay.
But as far as the dates themselves go,
Wait, why are you taking car rides? Why not just take the
um,
train? Why not take public transportation?
because I feel like it takes so much more time to get there, and if I'm going to do it, I'd rather get there fast, and then at least like you can stay in the car if say they're outside and they're waiting, and you're just like,
Okay,
okay, I'm just
okay. So you pay for on car
going
rides.
actually. It's just for like a security reason as well, and it just makes it a little bit easier too when you're I guess, disengaging because what if, say, you're going on the same train? They only come every couple minutes. So now, like you're on a date that you weren't really feeling the person, and now
And
you're
you're
like, okay,
stuck
see
there.
you. And then you're walking in the same direction and you're walking down the same stairs, and it's awkward. It's just a really easy way to disengage.
Okay, all right. Let me go back to the original question. On your past 10 dates, how many of you actually? How many have you paid for? The bill
Zero.
specifically.
Zero.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear that.
It's zero. None of them.
Okay, men, in the chat
I've offered.
on your.
I've offered. I can say that. I have offered.
You should offer. It's the dance. We, the dance is expected. Um, have so you paid for zero. In the past 20, have you split the bill in any situation? First date specifically.
First date specifically.
Yeah.
No. No, I can't say that I have.
Would you
And,
say
and you're right, it's a dance too. Like it's very hard to even navigate that situation because, like, okay, so personally, I always go into a date expecting to have to pay for my own meals. So on the reverse side of that, like, I won't go on a date unless I know that I can afford to pay for whatever I want, but I know that that's not always the case either.
okay? So you go in on a date expecting to pay, but based on experience, based on your past experiences, it's shown you didn't pay at all, or you don't have to pay.
You
So
never really want to be
it's
put in a
reality
situation
versus
where they
perception.
say it, they're like,
Sorry.
yeah. You don't really want to be put in a situation either where the person expects you to pay and then you can't either.
That's fair. So it's a backup
I get
plan
you
in a way.
ghosting. Yeah.
Okay. Would you say dating is expensive for you?
I mean, you have to look at it like on a much larger scale. It's not necessarily just the dinners either. You have to think about what we put into it to be able to get there, besides even just the cars. For us to get ready to go. Like our makeup is not cheap. Like to sit there and go and getting waxes and our hair and our nails done. Like this stuff all adds up. And like yes, we do that stuff for self-care and to make, ourselves feel
Oh,
good, but at the
keyword,
same time,
keyword,
I'm
self care. We didn't ask you to do that. You're doing it for self care. That means you want to do that for you. So how does that relate back to this? How does that relate back to it takes money to put into all of this?
so this is how I'm going to reframe that then. It's almost like peacocking. So the guys do it with the extravagant date. They, do whatever to set themselves apart from that 9,999 plus. Whereas with girls, when we do that self care that you were talking about, that's us peacocking. That's us, walking into the date and you being like, wow, this girl's totally worth it.
Wait,
Like if I was to show
that's
up in my
contradictory
sweats
though.
and, be on kept, like,
Peacocking and self care are two completely different things. When you peacock, you do it to attract the other person. Self care is just for you. So I'm a little confused.
okay, think of it like this. If you end up getting lucky on a date, no matter which one it is, and you take a girl's clothes off and she has matching bra and panties on, who decided that you were going to hook up? Was it you or was it her? And who had to go out and buy that matching set to ensure that you were going to be happy with what you saw underneath the clothes?
Okay, okay, okay. First of all,
Think about
I'm a little biased because I love lingerie.
it.
Um,
It's not cheap. Lingerie's not cheap. And you know what? That's not self care. And we're not sitting. I'm sorry, but I do not know one girl that sits there in a cute little lingerie or teddy or whatever at 11 o'clock at night eating Cheetos. It just
okay,
doesn't
I'll,
happen.
I'll answer your
That's for
question
you
then.
guys. That's not for us.
Um, who decided to put it on? She did, right? Who decided to have sex? The woman does, because once again, it's her vagina. She's in charge of sex, right? Um, men, sure, men have a say too, but it's 99% the woman, right? So I'll give you that. But here's the thing, though. It's not like sex is guaranteed on all first dates, right? So you're going most men, right? you know what? I'm gonna speak for myself. I can't speak for most men. Um, I go on a date, and yes, sex is an expectation. right? It's not an expectation that's going to happen right there, right then and then, but it's in hopes of having sex with that person. Of course, it's in hopes of having a relationship and building a life and a partner. Sure. But it's in hopes of having sex with that person. And since sex is not guaranteed, you want to keep the costs low, right? Until, hey, I got what I wanted. Now I can invest a little bit more, right? It's like a partnership. If I don't see any return, like yes, I'm gonna invest at a with a reasonable amount of money, but I'm not gonna throw all my money in right away, right? So it doesn't make sense to go all out in a relationship until you start to see some return, and that return is sex to men. Does that make sense?
A little bit.
Because otherwise, we might as well just pay for sex. Otherwise, we might as well just do prostitution. Seriously, like what? I don't know. It just fucking hurts. Like you spend $200-300 consistently and then hoping this date goes well, and she goes. You never see her again. And then after a while, you start learning, like, you know what? Maybe I shouldn't invest this much. Maybe I shouldn't like spend this much. Maybe I should just take it easier, go smaller, smaller.
And girls get disappointed too. We could get all dolled up and have that lingerie on underneath our clothes, and then the date doesn't go well, regardless of whether or not you sat there and dropped a couple $100 on dinner. And then we're going home eating the cost of that too. Granted,
You're
we can
going
learn that
home with a
again. You
free
can't.
meal and free drinks. What are you talking about? You're going home with the guy just sat there for however long, entertain you, right? Let's just say fine, the date went horrible, but at least you had some form of entertainment that night with a full belly and some cocktails. And you paid for nothing. What do you mean, Sam?
I mean, like I said, like it takes a lot of time for us as well to, kind of invest into the date and for us to sit there. Like time is money too.
You do realize that men get haircuts a lot of times before dates, right? You do realize we have to pick out our outfits as well too. The same thing you're doing, maybe not to the same level of preparation, but the same thing you're doing, we do too. Like I know if I have a hot day, whoo, I'm hitting a barber, and that's $30 right there, right? And depending on how cool you are with your barber, it might be more, it might be less. Who knows? But that's $30 right there. Plus, you're saying transportation. You say you like to pay for the cabs. Fine, I'll get a Metro card, 290, $3 and all that stuff, right? But let's just say I still always have to keep Uber money around, because once again, let's just say the date is going well. You want to take her back to her place. You don't want to sit on the train for 30-40 minutes. No, you want to jump in the cab and just get there as quick as possible. You don't want anything to come in between that's going to fuck it up between the time from the date to your house or to her house. It's true. So there you go
Okay.
again. Transportation money.
So what would you consider to be an appropriate date then? Like, what do you find reasonable for, say, a first date?
I think coffee and drinks are great for a first date. And also depending on the weather, right? If you guys like some sort of activity, bike riding could be fun. Like if you can like either go to one of those bike rental shops. I think bike rentals are like $10-15 each, right? So that's $30 right there, and you can ride around the city and explore. Can go up and, like, again. I'm in New York, right? We're both in New York, so we can go up and down the river. You can go for a ride in Central Park. Stop, have a little picnic. Uh, Just again, the whole point of it is to get to know each other. It's an interview. That's all it is. A first date is an interview. Some interviews are short, some interviews are long. But the whole point is, I need to get a gist of who you are. Ooh.
I could see that. I agree with the coffee date as well because it doesn't keep you there. There's not as much of a like there's no pressure to stay through an appetizer, through a meal, through dessert, have that whole awkward conversation, you can do it at any time of the day. That's the other thing is the pressure is on when it's a night date. If you do something during the day, people have lives. People are busy. Like you have other obligations and you always have an out. When you do dinner, it's almost like you're kind of feeling the deal for the rest of the night. Like most people don't usually make plans later on, or at least I hope they don't. I don't know. I'm not
I think you should. That's just me. Okay, okay. Tell me about some of the first dates you've been on, the more common ones. Let's just say out of 10, what's the most common one?
I would have to say the dinner date. You meet somewhere in the city and you meet at the bar and you like kind of do a little bit of small talk. You sit down at the table. Um, Again, it's a little bit of a song and dance when it comes to, are you going to order an appetizer or if you're just going straight for the big meals. I like tapas personally, because it does make it a little bit more interactive and you guys kind of get to share the same things. Um, but you also have to figure out what you're going to eat too. Do you want to eat the most expensive thing on the menu? Do you want to be that girl? Is that what your intentions are? Um, you know, like you said, you have to ask the big questions, and I feel like that's where the biggest issue is.
Wait, who are you asking the big questions? So you're asking yourself or you're asking the person?
I mean, ideally, the person that you're sitting there with.
So
The
you,
big question.
here's what I'm hearing. You go on a dinner date. The big question is, do I want to order the most expensive thing on the menu? Hey, and I'm looking my partner in the eye. Not even my partner. My first date in the eye. I'm like, oh shit, they got lobster? $50? Yo, can I get the lobster? Is that what you're saying?
Exactly what I was alluding to, but that is something like I mean, personally, I would never order the most expensive thing on the menu. I always like the guy to order first, and then I kind of go along the same lines as that, something that's like kind of in the same price range. It's like matching their energy kind of thing. Like let them decide if you want to get an appetizer. Kind of let them take the lead on it.
Okay.
Especially if they are the ones that are in the end and gonna end up picking up the check. Like
Yeah.
I'm not gonna sit there and order the seafood tower as an appetizer.
Yo, I
When you just want the fried calamari.
Yo, I saw this video online. Um, this girl wanted a first date and order 4 rounds of oysters, and they were like 12 oysters each. This girl was going in. Oh my god. The Listen, man. Here's what I'll say. Exactly what Sam said. You should dictate the pace. You should lead the like. For example, I was telling Sam this. I was like, I realized based on what I order, she might order too. So exactly what she just said. She'll see what the guy does, and then she'll follow accordingly. Especially if he's picking up the bill. Now, Sam,
Yeah, I mean, if you're gonna order a burger, I'm not gonna get the lobster. You know,
that's fair.
not to say that there aren't some people that would.
That's fair. That's fair. Uh,
Like,
okay.
you have to think about like what you're going into this date expecting, though. Like you said, and that's why this dating scene is so skewed. It's just so horrible because you have people that are just like, I gotta eat, so I guess I gotta date. And then you have other people that are like, okay, I really want to try to find a connection, but you have all of these other people that have these like influences on what dating is supposed to look like. It's almost like you just fall in line with, what's expected based on, past, traumatic experiences with dating, really, if you ask me.
So I'm reading chat right here, and Boogity says that Walmart is a good place for a first date. Movie night as or wait, movie night at someone's house. I don't think that's a good first date. But if I'm gonna tell my daughter, I would tell my daughter not to go to someone's house on a first date. If you do,
Mm,
you know what's kind of there's a little thing that's expected.
yes.
You're expected to fuck.
Okay, so I have some experience with that one actually.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. So I was just chatting with somebody that just happened to live in Queens,
Okay.
and there was no like small talk or anything like through the app, just because like I mean honestly I feel like if you're gonna have that conversation it should be in person anyways, otherwise it doesn't
Yeah,
usually
that's the
lead
whole point of a
anywhere.
date
It's
to
just a
have the
dead
talk.
end.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But they're very adamant about me going to Queens. And for me, I don't live in Queens. I live in the Bronx. So that is very, very far for me. Um, So I'm sitting here thinking, okay, I'm going to be going to a completely different borough, somewhere that I've never even been before, somewhere in Queens I've never even been. And he expected me to go to his house. There was no talk of like, hey, let's watch a movie, or even like, hey, you want to come over for a drink, or let's cook dinner. It was just like, hey, do you want to come over and chill? And I'm like, I don't know you.
Okay, this
And
is
you are
great.
expecting me to come to your house, a stranger, and just like come over? Like, I couldn't wrap my head around that.
Okay, this is where
I had asked if they wanted,
communication
yeah.
comes in, right? Now, there was very little small talk, right? He picked somewhere close to his house and he wanted you to come over to chill. Those are three signs that said he wanted to fuck.
Absolutely. And to be completely honest with you, at the time, I wasn't really, saying no to that either.
Okay,
Like sometimes girls just got to kind of scratch an itch too.
I hear that.
However, this is where things got a little strange.
Hmm.
So, we're talking, it was like, like 2 or 3 days out from like when we had planned, we kept communication, you just like small talk, like, hey, are you still on for this day? And I'm just like, yeah, like, let me see how it goes. Like, I might get out of work late, but I'll keep you posted. Um, and he even said that he would like send a car. So I was like, okay, so that's a little bit better, I guess, because, it's not just me kind of like traveling into the abyss. The car already knows where it's going, I guess. I don't know.
Hmm.
But it was the day of, and I was like, hey, do you mind if we just like jump on a quick video chat, just like, confirm everything, and, like make sure that you're like a,
A real
human
person.
being,
Yeah.
a real person, if you are who you are, your
Yeah.
pictures match who you are, all that stuff.
Yeah.
And he goes, I don't have FaceTime. I'm like, okay, maybe he doesn't have an iPhone. Do you have WhatsApp? I don't have video call. So I'm
Red
like,
flags. Red flags.
mm,
Every phone has video calls. Every
yeah.
phone. Come on.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure even like FaceTime you can even send to Androids now.
Yeah.
You can download Skype or anything, Zoom, whatever. There's so many different
Instagram,
options.
you can FaceTime on Instagram too. Like most, also a lot of these dating apps nowadays, you can video chat. There is the option of it too.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's a huge red flag.
and yeah. Needless to say, that did not go anywhere. He ended up getting very defensive about it, and why did you wait until the day of to ask me this of me? Like it just got very strange. Yes, they were blocked.
I think
That did not
those
happen.
that's very fair of what you did because it sounded like it was like a security thing as well too to make sure that you're safe. Because isn't that why we meet in a public place for a first date? To make sure it's a neutral ground where we both feel safe, where we can leave if we feel uncomfortable at any time.
Mhm,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Aye, aye, aye. Okay, so we understand the fact is courtship, it does cost, right? Dating is expensive, right? Or expensive is subjective, but courtship cost, right? If is there a certain level you should not date? If you're at a certain level financially, what is that level that you shouldn't be dating?
Mean, I don't think you should really put any kind of price tag on it. If you really do find the right person that is, that does have the same intentions as you and is just looking for that connection, these kind of things shouldn't matter. Problem is, too many people tell you that it should. And that's where everything gets so lost in the mix because, even if that's not what your intentions are, you still have to, kind of maintain the status quo because, you tell somebody that you did go on that, coffee date. And I've even had friends personally tell me, you went on a coffee date? No, they should be taking you to dinner for a first date. What do you mean you went on a coffee date? It doesn't matter if you find the love of your life, but they didn't buy you that, Seafood Tower, that I was talking about,
So it's about
people,
status
that's what
then.
people think now.
That's what it
Yeah.
sounds like. It's about status. It's about it's more about the courtship than the person. That's what I'm hearing.
Yeah, I would say so. And especially, with so many options out there, you have to set yourself apart. So in order to do that, you have to, we are just, like we're human
Okay.
beings and we have like the need for like the protector, what is it, like the hunter gatherer situation. Like if you really want to go that deep with it, like I don't know nearly enough about it, but it's like you need somebody that, in the end is going to end up, being able to support you. And this is all like, like not stuff that you're thinking about in real time, but if you really like dig deep into like what your intentions are, like you are still thinking about the future. And it's like if they can't sit there and provide this for you in the beginning, how are they going to be able to do any of that stuff for you in the end? Say when it comes to like, hey, let's get a mortgage, or like say there's some kind of financial hardship on the other side of it, or like we don't think about these things, but they are embedded in
Correct.
dating.
Correct. So let me rephrase this question. Is this more about the dating marketplace, what it demands, whereas it's love versus being a provider? It's love versus money.
Yeah, they're not synonymous. They really aren't, and that's the problem. Is like they're two completely different things,
Correct.
and you
So
could need
let's
both of them, but you could get them both separately.
correct. Absolutely correct. Let's go back. Let's go back in the days, right? You know, just like you said, the hunters and providers, right? Uh, Back in the day, marriage wasn't about love. Marriage was it was a financial decision. It was like, hey, I have land, you have money, let's put it together. My family name, your family name, and we become richer and bigger together, right? And modern day, it's become more about love. As you can see with TVs, movie shows, and all that stuff, everybody has romanticized marriage, right? But the fact of the matter is this: when you do get into marriage and you don't have money, it causes a lot of problems, right? And when you say your marriage vows, for better, for worse, in sickness and health, for richer, for poor, till death do us part, that's a lifetime contract. And then when you look at the divorce rate nowadays, it's over 50%. Once again, let me come back. Because of the dating marketplace today, is it more love or is it more money?
Honestly, I think it's more money. I really do. I don't think people have the right intentions anymore. It's all about what do you have and how does that benefit me?
And when you
That's
have a
how I
lot
feel
more
it is now.
options, you have a lot of people throwing either throwing money at you.
Mhm. Think about some of the dating apps that are specifically for like, like elites, or, you have like-minded people, like, the luxury lifestyle. I mean, oh, you can even look at, like the sugar daddy websites and everything. Like there are apps specifically designed for people that are like, I just need somebody to take care of me.
Mm.
And that's, there's something for everybody out there, but when it comes down to it, you usually have to somehow provide for it. And money. You can't support anybody really without it. I have a question for you.
Yeah, ask away.
Now that we're on the topic of finances, paying for first dates is one thing. Say you now get into a relationship with somebody and you're past the whole like our what our title is, what's our label, and you guys decide to actually be boyfriend girlfriend, or you're even getting a little bit further into a relationship. At what point do you talk about your financials? Like forget about the what are we question. At what point do you talk about it?
I think
Because I feel
within
like
the
that's
first
that's
month.
a huge factor
Within the
within the
first
first
month.
month.
Yeah.
But is that to also say that during the first month I need to sit there and tell you how much I have in student loans and what my credit card debt is, and like I owe this
No,
person this
no.
money, like
I'm not saying.
because that's the stuff that really matters when it comes down to actual commitment, and that's the stuff that you don't
Oh,
really talk about.
okay, okay. All right, all right, all right. But there's two types of financials, right? There's like, hey, how are we gonna maintain going out on these dates? That's one way, right? And two is the marriage level commitment, where it's like, hey, what's your debts like? What's your yeah? Do you have loans? Do you have like Do you open what are your debts, right? And because if I'm correct, when you get married, don't you take on someone's debts as well?
Hmm. Yep,
So
everything's just kind of.
yeah, if we're still early on in the relationship, we're fine. We're fine. Your bullshit is your bullshit, right? It's not my bullshit yet. It's that happens later on because why am I gonna you let's just say you're a student and you invested so much into your education, you have a huge debt, right? Why am I going to disqualify you from being a partner because of your debt, right? But I will disqualify you from being a partner if it comes to marriage, because now I'm like, am I financially capable of taking that on? Does that answer your question?
Yeah. I have a follow-up question for that.
Talk to me.
At what point do you tell the person that you are now dating that, oh, the money you're spending on dates is what could put you in a financial crisis? At what point do you say, okay, so listen, we wined, we dined, whatever, I got
The
it.
first
We're
month,
together, I won.
the first month, because think about it, within a month period, you can probably do like what, 3 4 dates, right? One date a week, one date a week, right? Yeah, I think one date a week is okay. But if you've seen a pattern where it's like you're constantly paying for everything, that's gonna be, it's not sustainable, and that's gonna be 52 weeks, right? For a full year, you're paying for. No, you talk about it within the first
The
week, like, hey,
salary right there.
do you feel good about going 50-50 on certain dates? What I like to do down the line, I'm like, hey, babe, I'll pay for this. Do you mind leaving a tip?
Good
That's
one.
that's like a first way just to
That's
get
good.
things started, right? Hey, babe, I got this bill. Do you mind getting the next spot? And you know what's funny? I'll show you a funny story about this. So I went on this first date. I remember, and this girl really, really insisted on splitting the bill. I said, no, no, it's okay. You're cool. I got this. Just get the next place. And she was like, oh, that's totally fine. And the bill was maybe like $150 or something, right? Like she was she was drinking, right? And I was drinking too, but she was like really drinking. So I was like, cool. So let's go to the next spot. And we left dinner. I went to a regular bar, and we're going to the pub. And we're drinking, we're laughing, having no time. I'm like, I tell the bartender, yeah, just keep it coming and all that stuff for the drinks. And this girl got so mad at me. She was like, hey, I know you say I have this spot, but like these are starting to add up. and, and the bill was like $40 at the moment. But I'm like,
Oh. I'm thinking like it's like surpassing whatever
no,
like you had
it
already
was
dropped for
like
dinner.
$40.
I
I was like, wait a minute. So my whole argument about you get the I got the next one, you get the next one, goes
Mhm.
out the window because you don't know what is it called, the ceiling on how much they're willing to spend.
Yeah. Yeah, I can see that.
So y-
I yeah, that's rough.
shit. I guess you know what? Let me change my answer. I wouldn't say a month. I would probably say within the second or third date. You talk about finances, how much you're willing to spend.
Okay. Feel like there's a way that you could finesse it too, even to be like, hey, like, would you mind, like, maybe we can switch it up a little bit, do something a little more low key, and like,
Hmm.
now, because I feel like by the third date, you can start to introduce like the movie night and, like, let's just, like,
Which I
hang out in
love.
our pajamas or something. Like, yeah, because now, like, if you already made it to the third date, you must have some kind of connection that you're trying to keep them around a little bit longer.
Yeah.
And that's where you can actually really promote that connection is when you do have like those intimate moments that don't include just hooking up and you're in the privacy of like, like your own home where it's a little bit more comfortable, you get to let
Yeah.
loose a little bit, and then you get to really see who that person really is too.
I actually like those moments a lot. I truly, truly do. Like, and even you know what, and you know what's great about that too? It's so inexpensive. Like, let's just say, cool, you want to have a drink? Let me go to
Say
the
something
liquor store.
romantic.
No, but hear me out. Let me go to the liquor store. I'll get all that stuff that we can get. You what? You want a beer? In the bar, it costs $7-8. I can get a 6 pack for $7-8, right? You want liquor? Cool. I can go to the liquor store, get one for $15 instead of like, you know, us being out. So I can bring that experience home at a cheaper cost.
I agree. You can just like cooking dinner together, with a nice bottle of
Exactly.
wine.
And that could be a teamwork thing.
Hmm.
I like that.
It's definitely not a first date though. For
No,
staying
no,
on the
no.
topic, not for a first date.
Listen,
Couple,
I'll
couple
say
dates.
this: unless you're trying to fuck, do not go to that person's house on the first date.
Agreed.
Yeah, I have to be very careful now that I'm a girl dad. Yeah,
Whole different perspective, huh?
yeah, yeah. Because like I know when I'm trying to fuck, I'm like, dude, just fuck it, just come over. But at the same time, I'm like, I, we probably should meet that person first.
Yeah.
Ah, yes, it's different. It's different. All right.
So,
So, what's the next topic?
so I wanted to talk about something that I had actually saw on Instagram about ghosting.
Okay.
Um, so ghosting is, when somebody just, everything's going great, and then all of a sudden, just poof, they disappear. Usually happens when you're in like the honeymoon stage, and you're starting to think about like maybe even taking it to the next level, or put a label on it. I've seen that like now it's being broken down into different categories. So now there's different types of ghosting.
Okay.
So the one that I found interesting was Casper, the Casper the Friendly Ghost ghosting.
Okay.
So that's the one where they drop off the face of the earth. Like there's no rhyme or reason as to why. No conversation about the relationship ending, or like where it was gonna go. What are we now? They're just gone. But they still show up in your DMs. They're liking your pictures. They're watching your stories. But the radio silence otherwise. That is so frustrating. Like I can't imagine how frustrating that is. Like it's like they just want to make sure that they're still like, hey, I'm still here. I'm still here. Don't move on. I just don't want you.
You know what that feels like? It's like they want a back door to always be open to you. But like, hey, I don't want you, but just in case if I change my mind or just in case something happens, I can still be able to reach out.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's what it feels like.
Like you're like on like a roster or something. Like I don't want you. I don't really want to mess with you anymore. But you
No,
don't
you
want
didn't
them
even
to
make the
completely.
roster. You're on a list of potential. Potential. Roster, they at least talk to you. Roster, you'll probably see with that, you see that person maybe once or twice a week, right? But a potential, it's like it's like a Facebook friend, right?
Mm.
You keep them there. They're just there in case of an emergency. You break the glass in case of an emergency. You haven't had sex in a very, very, very long time. All right, I guess if I have to, you break it.
Mhm.
Hey, what's up? You know they'll be there in a heartbeat.
I feel like these are the type of people that crawl out of the woodwork during the holidays,
Yes,
right?
yes, yes.
You're
They'll
back home, visiting family, that one person that, it just never worked out with them. It might have even been a bad breakup. But, every once in a while they like your stuff. And then, hey, you're back in town. Like, what's going on? Nobody else is around.
let me
It's
ask you
like
this
the
then.
super
How do you
backup.
think you should respond or react to the Casper ghosters?
I think it depends on the situation. It depends on how it ended, and I think it depends on what your intentions are with them as well. Because some people are a-okay with that. Because you know what, if I'm back home visiting family and I have nothing else to do, I might actually, I might break that glass. But at the same time, like if it's something where you might have actually like gotten hurt in the process, like you have to cut that off. But that's on you to do. You have to, you have to block them. Like you have like I feel like it's not even something that you could really like confront, because then you're trying to initiate something with them directly, and you're not going to get anywhere with that. Like you're not going to get that closure, or you're not, even if you sit there and just make your point of, like you keep showing up here and here, but you're not doing anything. They've already made the decision that they don't want to talk to you. So I don't even think that would really go anywhere. You gotta send Casper back to his home. You can't let that happen.
Send them
If
back to
that's
the
the case.
grave.
Send him back to the grave. Exactly.
Yeah.
Keep him where he belongs.
Uh,
So another one,
yeah.
sorry, yeah. So the other one that I thought was really good is it's the breadcrumbing ghost.
Ooh. Explain that.
Okay, so the breadcrumbing ghost is the one that just wants to take it slow, just really slow. Like I don't want to rush into things. I've been hurt in the past. But 2, 3, 4, 5 months in, okay, so what's going on? You ask them, oh, I don't know yet, and then as soon as you decide to, be like, okay, enough is enough. Like I'm gonna put my foot down. We got to figure this out. Then they're out. But they will string you along as long as they possibly can until you get sick of it.
Okay. My first question. You said the breadcrumbs, right? They'll take things really, really slow. As in, like, is this a lot of small talk over text messages? Are you guys meeting up, hanging out? Um, is there sex involved? How slow are we talking about?
I feel like this is the type of relationship that might start off, hot and heavy, and you might be full force, and then once one person, I think there might be like a little bit of there's an imbalance in the dynamic. So one person likes the other one a little bit more than the other one does,
Well, that's always the
or
case for most relationships.
yeah. But when one of them starts acting on it, the other one starts to slowly pull away.
Push pull.
I guess that would kind of like a yeah, or like when they talk about like the avoidant attachment styles,
Yeah.
like yeah, as soon as you're faced with like hey, you have to make this decision, they start to pull away. But they're not going no contact. They're not not seeing you at all. It's just you're going from you might be talking 2 3 times a day or seeing them a couple times a week. Now they're only seeing maybe like once a week, and now they're only talking to you once a day, and it's not really enough for you to notice at first because life happens. But
Okay.
then after a while you start to realize that you're basically just getting whatever they'll give you, but you're still holding on to the hope that it's still going to be whatever they had kind of like promised you in the beginning.
Can you repeat the last part? It's basically you're taking whatever they can give you.
Yeah, so it's almost like if you give somebody water and then slowly every time you give it to them you give them a little bit less, a little bit less, a little bit less, they're going to be thirsty
What
for
about
it,
what you
but they're still
want?
going to accept whatever you have.
Yeah, but
Well,
what
that's
about
where
what you
that's
want?
where the ghosting part comes into play, because as soon as you decide to put a stop to it, then they're gone.
Okay, fine.
They will string, yeah.
Whose needs matter more at that point? Yours or theirs?
Well, see, that's the thing, is when you put your foot down, that's when you finally realize that it's your needs that aren't being met. But you make excuses, and there's exceptions, and like you just take everything they say at face value. So, oh, I'm too busy at work. It's like they say if you wanted to, you would, and I'm really starting to see that that's true, because not everybody's that busy, you know.
I agree.
Everyone has 2 seconds, and if you already have like a relationship that has been set to a certain standard,
Yeah.
like if it's already been consistently like like at this time of the day you're always talking, no matter where you are, like whether you're on your way to work or you're in the grocery store or whatever, like this is the time that you guys usually like talk. And then all of a sudden like that stops happening, like you're gonna feel like your needs aren't being met, but you still have the rest of it. So it's like, okay, so it's just one call, maybe they're busy, they can't do
You know
everything.
what? I'm gonna say it's okay to be selfish in this very situation. For example, water is something that we need. We need this to survive, right? Um, Alcohol we don't need. So my thing is this: if you need something to survive, if your needs are not being met, why are we continuing to entertain the idea of this person? Isn't that the number one reason why people cheat? Because their needs are not being met. Isn't that why you go and look somewhere else?
So from the other side of that, the person that is doing this breadcrumb ghosting, so to speak, does that mean that their needs are being met somewhere else?
Yeah, Yeah, I've always said this. I was like, listen, if she's not fucking you, she's fucking someone else. That especially if you're familiar with their sexual appetite. Come on, come on. So yeah, if you know she needs emotional attention, you know what's funny? I went on a date about like a month or a month and a half ago or something like that. I'll share this with you. I read this girl perfectly, right? Like I read exactly her needs, and I realized I couldn't follow along her need, right? She says, "I need attention. I need a lot of attention." And there's just something about that that irks me. I don't know what it is. Like, I don't mind texting you. I don't mind hanging out with you. But when she said I need constant attention, all I can
What does
think is
that
that
mean?
she needs constant validation. Like, she said one of her love languages was words of affirmation, which I totally get. I'm like, yeah, if you look cute, you look good, and all that stuff, that's fantastic. But I don't like. I didn't feel the need for small talk in between. I'm like, hey, we're either gonna meet up and hang out, but I don't need to be sitting there on my phone talking to you for hours. And to me, that's me giving her constant attention, right? And then this, I'll tell you the story. This girl was like, listen, okay, um, I wanna hook up, but I'm not physically ready yet. And I'm like, what does that mean? She's like, I need to do maintenance. I'm like, cool, great, go do your thing, right? And
Okay, see, that costs money. She didn't do it because she wasn't dating. Circle back.
I asked her when was the last time you had sex. She said last week. So
Never
yeah,
mind.
she kind of was.
Okay.
Sam,
The
Sam,
girls are making us look bad here.
seriously, seriously, the re. No, no, like, listen, a part of
You
like
do
dating
something
that I
special than if she
enjoy,
was doing maintenance for you.
bro. I don't know the excuses that people come up with are so ridiculous nowadays. It's laughable. Like I'm at the point where rejection just like bumps off me, and I laugh at these excuses so many times. Like this girl said this, right? Like she said a lot of contradictory things. She was like, hey, I'm recently divorced, so I haven't been really, I'm getting back out there. And I'm like, all right, cool, I could totally get that. She's like, yeah, I've been married for so long now. I just want to date now. I just want to just go out there, right? I'm like, okay,
What
okay,
the
okay. And
fuck?
I'm just like, listen, you're not the first person I heard this from. I totally get it. She's like, yeah, I felt trapped for so long. I've only had sex with one person, so I'm ready to just spread my wings, right? And translation, spread my legs, right? So I was like, all right, cool. She's like, so I already have someone, and I'm looking for another person. So I'm like, oh, okay. So you're building a little roster. She's like, well, I like options. I'm like, all right, cool, 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 cool. That's when I asked her. I was like, when was the last time you had sex with this person? She was like, last week, and this was like on a Monday or something like that, right? So last week could mean anything after like 2 days ago or anything, right? And I'm like, all right, cool, cool, cool. So the date went well, right? There was chemistry. We kissed. It was fine, right? And then, I was like, hey, do you want to come over? She was like, oh, I gotta maintain, right? And then the next day she's like, hey, quick question. Are you, do you have like your STDs results and all that? So I was like, yeah, I do. Sure. No problem. And then she's like, okay, let's make plans for like next week. I'm like, all right, cool. But I'm not going to talk to you in between. If you say we make plans, great. We have plans in between. And then the day before, she's like, I'm so excited for tomorrow. I'm like, great. And then the day off, I'm like, just checking in. Hey, what's up? She's like, So, like, I don't know if I'm like physically ready to start dating again. Like,
That's interesting.
let me,
I think it has a lot to do with the no contact in between now.
agreed.
I think it has more to do
The
with that.
attention part. That's, yeah, agreed.
Yeah. But
She's
I
like,
don't think that's attention though. She just like even people that don't crave the attention to have it all the time, like it is nice to have the reassurance, like just like a touch base, like like halfway through the week. It
then
doesn't have to be,
text me!
talking every day.
Sam, our phone works both ways. If you want to talk to somebody, text them. Why are you waiting for them to text you? If
Yeah, but I
you
have like
miss talk,
9,000 people that'll text me first.
huh?
I have like 9,000 people that would text me first.
Oh, once again, it
Remember,
comes
you
back
gotta
to
set yourself
options.
apart.
It comes
You
back to
gotta set yourself
options. You see what I'm talking
apart.
about? You are as faithful as your options.
Yeah,
You're like,
it's
oh,
true.
oh, this guy, we had a good day. I want to hook up with, blah, blah, blah. But he's not giving me any attention. He's not like, he's not on me as every single one of these guys are. Sam, that's how you gotta play. If you do what everybody does, you're gonna get the same results as they do. You gotta do something
True.
different. You
But then the
have
girls also have to do the chasing, and that's a whole different ballgame right there.
okay, so women shouldn't chase.
I mean, honestly, I think if you want something, you should go after it.
Yeah,
But at
that's
the
called a
same time,
chase.
when you are, but at the same time, when you have so many, like, you have so many different people that are just making those decisions so easy for you, it's a lot easier to sit there and weed through, like, the people that are already putting the effort in than it is for you to go above and beyond. Granted, like, once I do decide that I want to pursue you, I will text you first, like, especially if I think that, we're gonna have plans. But in the beginning, it's overwhelming, and to sit there and like find that one person that you want to actually like initiate with first, and then for it to not lead anywhere, it's like, why did I just waste my time when I have a line behind this guy that would
Okay,
do that.
so what you're saying is that when it comes to dating in the beginning stages, pursuit is a one-way street.
I think that there is definitely an imbalance in choices when it comes to men and women.
Why are you being a politician right now? Answer the question. Is pursuit a one-way street in the beginning?
I think that the men are usually the ones that do the pursuing first, and then it's reciprocation from that point on.
Okay. And it's reciprocation until you what? Until you decide you like him?
It's reciprocation after I decide I like you.
Okay. And it's also based on the amount of options you have. Because if you have a bunch of other guys lining up chasing after you, what's gonna make you wanna chase after that one guy?
I guess those expensive dinners. I'm joking. I'm joking.
There's no winning, guys. There's no winning.
No, in all honesty, it makes it hard when you have everybody sitting there and spitting the same exact game at you. It's hard to figure out which one that you really should be pursuing. And not to say it has to be those big expensive dinners that set you apart, but you have to do something. You have to do something.
Oh, okay. You said something interesting right there. You said all these guys sitting there spinning the same exact game at you. Can you describe this game you're talking about that they're spinning?
I mean, everyone goes through like the motions of like the typical questions. What do you do? Like, what do you like to do for fun? And like,
Yeah, they're
it's
qualifying
very
questions.
mundane. Like, yeah, the qualifying questions that aren't very deep though. That's the problem.
Okay,
And a lot of people don't know how to get past that. Like,
the surface level
sometimes
stuff.
I'll yeah, and that's kind of where it's like a dead end because there's only so much of the like, hey, what are you doing? Nothing. What are you doing? Nothing. What are you doing? Nothing.
See,
Like, or the hey, how are you? It's like a lot, like all those people that I'm talking about, like those 10,000 people, of those people, I'd say maybe 100 of them will actually have like an engaging conversation, whereas the rest of them are just like, hey. And like, so for me, I don't want to chase after somebody that's not going to put effort into even the first thing that comes out of their mouth. Like,
See, here's
does
the
that
thing
make sense?
though. I've asked deep level questions early on, and I've gotten the answer where it's like, whoa, 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 this is too soon. I thought I
Mm,
was being different by asking the hard questions, and they're like, dude, I don't even know yet for you to be asking me this stuff. So
oh, and that also will sit there and put the divide between the people that are just looking for the meals and the just dating to, do the dating thing, and the ones that really are trying to connect. You have to ask the hard questions, and that you have to put yourself in uncomfortable situations to even be able to, see if it's going to go anywhere. Like if you can't be uncomfortable like with what somebody's asking you now, like how is it going to be easier down the road? Like like relationships aren't comfortable, like there's ups and downs and like all these things, and if you can't even answer a simple question about like, like what are your intentions,
yeah,
where do you see yourself in 5 years,
yeah.
like things like that, like it's not worth it. But like I appreciate the deep questions. Some people like, and I get bored so easily with like this, like the mundaneness of like, oh, what's your favorite color, or oh, what's your zodiac sign, like
Honestly, none of
drives
that
me
tells me anything
bonkers.
about you. Like,
And it
how's
doesn't.
yeah, your favorite
I mean,
color? It's not gonna be a deal breaker for me.
right.
Like, oh, you like
I
fuchsia?
mean,
Psh, I can't deal with you. No, no.
no.
That's where I draw the line. Huh.
Right. Yeah, but I mean, I will pursue the right person if
Mm-hmm.
they engage enough that it piques my, interest. But at the same time, like it's really got to be something that sets you apart.
Okay.
And because otherwise, like think about it, like it would be exhausting if I sat there and I initiated conversations with every single one of those people to get
Yeah.
what in return. Like you sit there and talk about, like how, you even have a backup date to your date. For us, it's not even having a backup date. Like that's almost guaranteed with it's just like based on numbers alone.
Well, based
If I
on your
really,
numbers
really
alone, for
wanted
sure,
to,
you
well,
can. Fuck yes, you can. I have to go through like 1,000 swipes just to fucking get two, three. That's a good. That's a really good day. Well, I get
so
what you're
I
saying
just
though.
I just swipe through my likes though, and that's even like it takes a while to even do that. Like, I might have that many
Boom,
people like me, but
match.
of
Boom,
those
match.
people, like even just based on, like, being superficial and just based on appearance, like that alone, like I'm like, I don't know where these guys came from, but no, you know, just because somebody likes you doesn't mean that you like them back. That's the thing.
Well, yeah,
And
I agree. I agree.
like people look at it and they're like, oh, but look at all these choices you have. You have so many options. There's, like X amount of people in New York City. Like sky's the limit. And it's like, yeah, but not really, because when you really look at it, of those people, how many of them would you actually consider attractive? And then take it to the next level. How many of them are actually going to engage with you in a way that's going to keep you engaged? Then
Yeah,
you go on the date. How many of them do you think are actually worth even going on a second one?
you're
How many of them
filtered.
after that are even
Yeah.
worth putting out for? You know?
So let me make a comparison, right? Um, let's just say you're an employer and you get 1,000 applicants, right? I'm guessing it's pretty exhausting going through all of them too to see which is a good match,
Mm-hmm.
right? So it's kind of like similar to dating. How
Sometimes you
do
throw
you
half the stack, you don't even look at
exactly,
it.
exactly? So
I,
imagine, right?
I hate to say it, but I'm guilty of it. I was a general manager and I used to literally just be like, wild card, sorry, not your lucky day.
That's what I'm thinking. I'm like, wait a minute, wait a minute.
you know?
Imagine this. This is what dating is like. Imagine you're jobless, right? And you go into an employer's establishment and be like, hey, real quick, are you hiring? And you're like, no, well, we're always accepting applications. We're full right now. And then all right, here's my application. Here's my resume. Like me, and you take it and you just put it on the stack.
Hmm.
You're what are the chances of you actually being hired?
You're not. You're not at all, because if you are actually hiring at that moment, you're not going to go through that stack. You're going to take the most recent one that just walked through the door today, and you're going to look at them first.
So what you're
It's all
saying is
about
that
convenience.
go where you're needed, not where,
Go
not
where
where.
you're needed.
Date who wants you, but don't wait. Date who wants you, not who you want.
Who wants you?
Because we all want the same
Date with
type of person.
intentions?
We all want
Yeah.
the same popular job. We all want the same hot person, right?
Hmm.
And if everybody
You
wants
have
the
to go
same
where your
hot person,
qualifications are relevant. Hmm. Go where your qualifications are relevant because, like I said, like I mean, I will sit there and take that, you know, 10K people and maybe 100 of them even I'm attracted to, and I'm not trying to be one of those people that's like conceited, like I, but the amount of people that I get that I just wouldn't even ever consider, like I don't know what it's like on the other side of it, like if it's like, hey, maybe I'll have a shot or like, but like when people swipe, do they do it and like actually like make a real consideration of like whether or not that person is actually going to reciprocate back? Like, I
okay,
mean, I could
if
even look at something like if you don't have like a college education, I won't engage with you because I'm attracted to intelligence. Like I like
bec-
smart people.
well,
I'm a
your
very smart person.
selectiveness
So
is
like if
different
you're
than
not
our
on that
selectiveness.
level, yeah.
Your selectiveness, your qualifications are different than ours. Like for example, this is what it's like for guys. You just swipe. Don't even look at it anymore. You can't be emotionally attached to it whatsoever. You can't sit there for 10 minutes like, man, this person has such a great profile. You swipe on everything. Everything and anyone. You cast a wide net, right? This is just like fishing. You throw that some bitch over everything, and then eventually, when you pull it in, you see what you catch, right? And let's be honest. Sometimes you're gonna catch some uggles, you're gonna catch some fatsos, and you're not gonna like it. So you're like, you know what? Let me unmatch. Let me, me. I'm a jerk. I'm not gonna have you just sitting there in my matches. No, I'm gonna unmatch you and just at least you will know. But I'm not gonna have you message me and I have you sit there waiting for 24 hours whatsoever. No. I'm gonna unmatch you, right? So you filter through the uggles and then you look for that one pretty girl that you like. And then here's what happens too. When you finally find a pretty girl in your match, you send a message. You send your best fucking line whatsoever. And you pray she responds. Because God knows chances are she's not gonna respond. And if she does, oh God, you gotta be. This is where your A game comes in. That's where it does. Like I'm telling you, when I had Tinder, when I have unlimited swipes, I'm sitting there, I'm watching a TV show, and I'm like swiping through everything. I'm on the train and I'm
You're looking
swiping.
down.
And then Hinge, I think Hinge is the best dating app because you can shoot your shot with words. You're not just swiping. So I'm copy and pasting everything, right? I'm like, I go with the most general fucking line. I'll be like, you look absolutely beautiful. Can I take you for drinks? Everybody looks absolutely beautiful. And now, instead of just having a small talk with them, you're already asking them out on a date. Right? Copy, paste, get the unlimited. Yo, listen, dating is expensive because I completely forgot that you have to pay for dating apps as well to be successful on it. You have to pay for it. Yeah, and the way how I was able to book 2 3 dates in one day is because I had the unlimited swipes. But I'm sitting there for hours just swiping away, and that's just 2 apps.
But do you see how guys doing that is ruining dating as well?
No.
Because with guys doing it, you're the reason why I have 10,000 likes. Because every single guy is just swiping. They haven't even looked at me. So now I have all these people that don't even know who I am
We
swiping,
can't
and
be
now I'm trying to.
emotionally
But
attached
you
because we
expect,
haven't matched yet.
but
If
you expect me to engage with you
yes,
when you didn't even look at my picture and you swiped? You
no.
didn't look at my bio.
We can't. Your bio means nothing until we match. Once we match, then we read everything. We can't sit there for hours looking. We can't sit there for minutes looking at your profile if we have a match. It's a waste of time.
It is for us as well. That's a lot of people to be looking through. Okay, so if you're just throwing out the wide net,
Yes.
that means that you're expecting us to sit there and dissect every single little fish to see if we want to catch it.
Well, again, yes,
So you're putting
because
that pressure on us.
no. Guys and girls want two different things. Guys look at your pictures. We don't care about your bio. We care about it way later on because we need to find something to talk to you about, right? Girls care about bio. Girls need to see, are you educated? How tall are you, right? Do you have kids? They care about all these different things, which is why we take our time to fill all of it out to attract you. But all it takes for us is 2 seconds to know, are we attracted to you or not? We don't know what your personality is until we go on the date. But it takes us 2 seconds. And then once we match, I'm like, all right. Come on, we gotta find something cute to say, something relatable, something to stand out of her DMs. Like, look at Boogity. Boogity says, I swipe on everyone. It's not just me. We have to. Because even the stat says it. Stat says that women swipe right 5% of the time. Men swipe right 95% of the time. And you know why you swipe right 5% of the time? Because you're constantly getting matches. Because there's always more people shooting them shot at you.
To say that if I only had 5 matches or 5 potentials, that I would sit there and accept all of them just because it's not like, what is it, the scarcity bias where it's like, you have to because that's all you're going to get. Like, I'd rather be patient personally and see if there's anything else out there. Or, you widen your scope, like your filters, like make it go a little bit further or, like maybe a different age range. Like, I personally would rather play with that than settle for something that I wouldn't want. And that's the problem is it's so overwhelming when you have everybody just swiping. And now I have to sift through all of this to see if I even want to make it into a match.
Okay, let me answer this.
Takes time too.
How many dating apps do you have currently?
4.
Okay. Do you pay for any
One.
of them?
I pay for 2 of them.
Okay. What's the
I go
biggest?
through phases. Like, it usually depends on what I'm,
Okay.
They're not usually at the same time, or if there is, it's usually like maybe a little bit of an overlap. But I usually focus on like one or the other.
Okay, so you pay for 2. So once again, dating is courtship is cost.
Yeah.
Right. What these 2 that you pay for? What is the biggest reason why you pay for it? What's the biggest perk?
Because
Biggest perk. Sorry.
they don't give me any of the options that I would actually match with otherwise. Like, I feel like they just give me trash. Like, it gives me people that I would like never in a minute. Like, I don't know what that algorithm is, or like, because if you look at my matches, like from like Tinder, you look like through like all of the people up at the top. I clearly have a type. Like, it's not that hard to realize that everybody all like from far away, their profile pictures all kind of look the same.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like, to an extent. So when I go on this app and I'm not paying for it, and you're throwing me stuff that is wildly outside of anything that I would even
Okay,
like
so you're
date,
paying
and then
for
all of
the
a sudden I
algorithm.
pay for it, and now it's like boom, 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 boom. Like,
Okay.
I'm like, come on, like it's a scam.
So the algorithm is kind of like a filter. Would you say?
Yeah.
It's like, hey, this is my type. Are you paying to limit their height?
I personally don't, but I do have friends that will. That strictly will not talk to you, give you any time of day. I see that in guys' profiles. That's usually like the first thing they add in there. I'm 6'1". I'm over 6 foot. It's a thing.
Because women qualifications are different than ours.
Yeah.
All right. But you're saying that you won't disqualify a guy from being a potential partner because of his height?
No, I mean, I'm 5'4". I'm short to begin with, and like for me personally, like that's not really a big make or break for me.
So you would date
But for
someone
some
that's
people,
5'5"?
it is.
You would date someone the same height as well, 5'4"?
Okay. Yes, maybe not shorter than me. Okay, let me back that up a little bit. Maybe not shorter than me. Like I said, I'm short to
I didn't
begin
say
with, so
shorter
it's
than you.
like,
I said the same height. You're 5'4". Would you date a guy who's 5'4" as well?
I mean, if they were like shoes that had like little lift to them, maybe. Like, I mean, you like to kind of look up a little bit at least, But like they
You
say,
don't
like
want
I
to look
like to see
straight
men when
ahead.
they're laying
You have to
down,
you have to
like
look up.
yeah, like a little bit.
Okay.
I mean, it just makes you feel like I don't know. Like I want to know that like I don't have to like beat somebody up for my boyfriend. Like I want to know that like if it comes down to it, like they can protect me a little bit. I feel like if you're
So
like
what
smaller than me,
if this
it's
person?
like I'm protecting my baby brother or something. Like I don't know.
So this person is 5'4", but they're muscular. Do you still feel the need to protect them? This person is 5'4" and they're a UFC fighter. Do you still feel the need to protect them? Are they still
See,
your little brother?
that's a little bit different though because muscle. I feel for me, I feel like muscle is more of a deciding factor than height. Like I would rather have somebody that's a little bit shorter but is muscular than have somebody that's like super tall and like a string bean. But I know a lot of women like literally it's just like height. That's it. It's kind
Do
of
you
it's
think
like the
that's
illusion
fair?
of it. Like
Do you think
I
it's
mean,
fair to
listen,
disqualify someone because of their height?
because it's right. I mean, you have to think of it this way though. Like everybody has the type, and if you aren't like attracted to them in that moment, like yes, looks fade and all that stuff, but like you have your own criteria. And I'm not saying that it's right, like at all, but like I said, everybody has their thing. Everyone has their hang up too. Everyone has their deal breaker. That one thing that like they absolutely cannot deal with.
Okay.
Maybe like paying for checks.
Okay, so
Yeah.
you said your answer is everyone has a type, so it's okay. Now let me rephrase the question. Do you think it's okay to disqualify someone because of a factor that they cannot change about themselves?
Hmm. That's an interesting way of putting it because that's something that they've been working with their entire life. I mean, when you say it like that, I could see how that sounds. Yeah. Mm.
But everyone has a type though, so I guess it's okay in some
One has a type.
situations. Do
I
you
have a
see how
question now.
fucked up dating is?
It is. It's very fucked up. I have a question. So, a lot of the times you will see people usually date within their same like it's like the hot scale or whatever, like the 0
Hot
to
crazy
10.
scale?
Well, the hot crazy scale is a whole other monster of its own. That's its own thing.
You talk about their
But
hotness level?
just like their hotness level. Like you
Okay.
see a lot of people like there's usually not any more than like a 2 point difference between people. And it
Agreed.
doesn't matter where you are on the scale. Like unless you're like really like into like if you're like a gold digger or like you're like looking for somebody to like they clearly are benefiting you somehow in other ways if there's really that big of a difference.
Okay.
But like for the most part, like like if you're a 10, the lowest you'll probably go is like an 8. If you're like a 4, you could reach for a 6, but you're probably not gonna get a 7. Like I just feel like that's like kind of like where the range is. It's like a 2 point difference. Like is that by
Okay.
design? Like do we do that on purpose? Is that like some kind of like thing that we do like subliminally?
All right, I got you right now. Can you rate yourself on a scale from 1 to 10?
Oh, I set myself up for that one, didn't I? um, Actually, do you remember Hot or Not? Like back in the day where you
I
used to
do.
put your picture up and people used to rate you?
Hmm.
I was always a 9.9, but I'll give myself an 8 point. Can I do that? I'll be a little modest. Mm,
So you give yourself a 8 point what?
8.9.
8.9. Okay. Um, what do you think most women rate themselves as?
I would say most women are usually around like the 8 range.
Okay.
I would say the best
Boogity.
foot.
in your experience, whenever you ask a girl how much she rate herself as looks wise, what does she usually say, Boogity? Not yourself, just women. When you ask women, and wait, you said Sam. What? How much did you say again?
Women, I would say, like, if they're being modest, I would say about an 8. If they're trying to like talk themselves up, they'll say that they're a 10. But that it really depends on the person. Like, if
Uh
they're
huh.
feeling themselves, they're gonna say they look like a 10. I'm being a little bit modest, and I'm like, listen, I know I'm not perfect, but that's also me looking at myself internally too. Like I have things I gotta work on. Like, but if you're just looking like at like face value, yeah, like 8.999, something like that. I guess I
I
would
got
say.
you right now. So I'll put it this way: most women are delusional. Okay, and let me back it up with what I'm about to say.
Okay.
10 means you're perfect. 10 is a perfection, right? That means there's no room for improvement at all, right? If if the average or most women think they're a 10, 8 or 10, 8 leaves a little room for improvement. 10, none, right? If every woman out there is a 10, do you realize that women date equally and above? And if you go with your point that they date either two above or two below, so there's no one above them, right? Because the scale stops at 10. So they're going to either date another 10 or they're going to date another 8,
You'll be
right?
dating down.
You're dating down. And most women hate dating down. You know why? Because they date
But they
equally
will.
and above. Now, the
No,
average,
no, they will.
huh? Okay. The average man is a little bit more realistic. I give myself, okay, when I come out of the barber shop with a fresh fucking haircut, I'm a solid 7.5, right? On a regular day, I'm a 6, right? That's what I give myself. Boogity, what do you rate yourself, Boogity? What do you rate yourself? Because the average guy is a little bit more realistic with how they look to the world, not about how they look to themselves, to the world, right? And I've dated a lot. I know I'm not the most handsome guy whatsoever. I have a few things going for me, right? Number one, I'm not fat, right? Number two, I'm tall, right? Number three, tall, dark, and handsome. Well, but still, right? Okay. Boogity says he rate himself a 6, right? I say I rate myself a 6 on a regular day, 7.5 with a fresh haircut, blah, blah, blah. So that means that, and also that means that if we're going with the 2 factor, that means the most I can do, if I'm a 6, I can go with an 8. If I'm a 7.5, I can go with a 9.5, right? Or I can go with a 4, or I can go with a 5.5, right? But men date differently than women do. Men date equally and below. So we're okay dating someone not as hot. Listen, let me go back to this. I think the hotness scale, women are not that realistic towards it because they're all going after the same guy. They're all going after the 10s because they already value themselves a 10. A girl who's a 6 in real life is going after the 10. Nowadays, it's so bad. You have 4s and 2s out here going after 10s. And you know what's funny? Those guys who are 10 give them that's the guy who's a 10 will fuck the 4. And because he's so hot, now she thinks she's a 10.
Mm, I see. I see what you mean.
Yeah, like I've seen the average woman. Oh, there was this. I'm gonna have to send this to you, Sam. There was this test. This was an average woman, and she was more on the chubby side. She was more like she wasn't fat, but she was chubby. Average regular woman versus a very good looking guy, model guy. His matches versus her matches. She got about 400-500 matches within a week. This guy got about 20-30 matches within a week.
Hmm, that's interesting.
So even the average woman, her DMs are flooded because once again, men date equally and below. So a 10 will date a 5, a 10 will date all that stuff. I don't know. I just think the hotness scale is a little bit delusional. It's not realistic. It's not. Come on, Sam, is every girl out here a 10?
No, absolutely not.
But they're like, you know, you have to
every
have
girl, and there
confidence.
wouldn't be filters.
Huh?
There wouldn't be filters on things, and people wouldn't be sitting there getting work done all the time.
Exactly. Like if I don't get it, Sam. I don't get it because I'm gonna go on a rant right now. I don't get it. If you have to constantly add stuff and put on your body, how are you a 10? If you
Well,
wake up and you
advertising.
don't look like that, you don't look like the perfect 10 in the mornings when you wake up, how are you a 10? How are you 10 when you have to get a BBL? How are you a 10 if you gotta get wait, what do? You get a tummy tuck, you gotta get like what? You gotta get breast implants, you gotta put nails, you gotta get everything about you can be purchased. I thought 10s were natural, we're like you're just naturally beautiful. I thought, remember what is this? All the sports magazines and all that stuff. They're like, this is the most beautiful person in the world. This is the most beautiful person of the year. The year. Now they're putting anybody on that thing. All right, I'm gonna be even more mean. I'm sorry, Sam. Let me be a little bit more mean for a second. What if a guy compares you to, SZA? Is that her name? What's the girl that sings? Come on, Boogity, you know who I'm talking about. The singer. She's black. She's fat. Um,
Lizzo?
Lizzo. Sorry, I said the wrong
Lizzo.
person. Yeah. What if I say, Sam, you're just as beautiful as Lizzo? How would you feel about
I
that?
mean,
How would you feel? It's like, man, you have such a sexy body, just like Lizzo. You're the perfect 10, just like Lizzo. How would you feel about that?
it's all about perspective, honestly. And some people, like I said, everybody has a type. So what might be beautiful to one person is, might not be to somebody else. Like, I personally, like, I'm lucky if I'm like 100 and 10 pounds soaking wet. So I don't know how that would be a comparison. But so for me, I would feel like that would be more like a personality thing. Like maybe like your insides are beautiful. Like I don't
Okay, is
know.
there an objective truth though to what's beautiful? Yes, we all have our own
Yeah.
opinion, subjective. But is there an objective truth about you can look at something like, damn, that's beautiful.
Yeah.
Okay,
That's the problem is like people aren't that deep anymore. Nobody looks at anything beyond the surface level.
that's not true.
That's why I mean,
What do
first
you mean?
at first glance, like when you're swiping, you're not looking at anything else.
Because
So
that's
you
all
see
I
you're
can
not looking at the
see
box.
right now. I can't talk to you over the phone until we match. Again, men look for attraction, women look for personality and how you make me feel. Yeah, it sucks. It's the marketplace. It's like
That's the
what do you
vicious
call
cycle
it?
of it, though.
Huh?
That's the vicious cycle of it. You guys swipe for everybody because you're just trying to get a match. That floods our inboxes with a bunch of matches. That it kind of blows up our egos a little bit. So now
A little bit.
we're trying to become that 10 so that we can reach to even higher levels of hotness. And it's just this it all repeats itself. Because now that guy is sitting there telling the girl that's the 4 that she's pretty and she's looking at her inbox and she's flooded. It's just a vicious cycle. Which
Sam, read the
like
chat,
when does the
Sam.
ride end, man? When does the ride end?
Sam, read the chat. Look what Boogity said.
I don't know if I know how to get to the chat.
The link that I sent you. Yeah, let me see. Maybe you can pull it up to the side on the computer. You know how to do like 2 tabs? Like pull one to the side and have the other one, or use your phone to see it.
Two different windows. Oh, let me
Yeah,
try.
2 different windows, or you can use your phone. Boogity. Normally I would say, but it's too hilarious, Boogity.
Okay, let's see what I got here. I don't know if I can find it. You're gonna have to give me a crash course on this.
No, it's okay. The link that I sent you on your phone. Just click it. It should pop up straight away. Like it's gonna open up your YouTube, and then you should
Text,
see you
text
should
message or
no you should see live chat. Yeah, go into your text message on my name, and then click the link that I sent you, and it should open up the YouTube chat. And then you're gonna see
okay.
the live chat. Look at the last two things that Boogity said.
Maybe I. Well, thank you.
Once again. Oh my god. The dating marketplace is so fucked up, man. Alright, so is there any way to fix it? If you say that because we like we're saying yes to everything, right? But we're all is it the fact that we're not filtered enough? Or does
Yeah.
filtering take too long?
I think it's the filters that they give you to work with. Like, imagine if there was a dating app that had filters about like your childhood traumas or like that had like those hard questions being asked. Like, maybe not. That might be a little too soon.
That's
But like,
match.com.
oh, no, there you go.
Asking like 50 questions when you just try to get on the app.
But like as a filter though, not as like just to get onto the app. Like you can put on there, I want somebody that wants to actually like go. Like you can choose like, hey, I want to go on a coffee date as my first date kind of thing.
Okay, how about
I
this
also
then?
think,
Aren't the different types of apps a filter? Because Tinder is more for sex, Field is definitely more for kinky sex, and Hinge and Bumble is more relationship related. And what is Coffee Meets Bagel? Isn't that for coffee dates? Or I don't know. Isn't it more for
I feel like speed dating.
speed dating? Right?
That's if you're trying to like appeal to the masses.
Yeah. Yeah, so the
Revolving
different.
door, get them in and out.
I need to say something about an elite app where it's like if you have money, you want a
Yeah.
luxury lifestyle. So, in some sense, the dating apps are filtering for us.
The platforms themselves are, depending on what it is. But here's the issue with that: you will see the same people on all of them. You will see the same exact people on all of those apps, and there'll be different pictures and different profiles. And you'll go on one, and they'll be like, "I'm just looking for somebody to spend the rest of my life with." And then you go on the other one, and they're like, "I want to get fucked." Like, who's ready to like literally?
We're both are the same though. Both.
Which person are you?
They're both. They're both. Well, wait. How about this? You act according to whatever the platform is. Okay? You're a chameleon. That's what you are. You're a chameleon on these apps.
I feel like you should like link them all together and just be like, so here are all my personalities. Now you know. If you really want to get to know somebody, just look at all their different profiles.
I mean, like, why can't you look for love and want to be fucked at the same time?
And you know what? You can do that. I had said something to one of my friends recently because I was so sick and tired of trying to look for the full, perfect person for me that, checked all the boxes. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna find one person for each love language. And then, and then if they just so happen to check off a couple more boxes, then hooray.
Just make sure all 5
Good
people
for
don't
me.
meet. Keep them all
Yeah,
separately.
yeah. Why, do we have experience with that?
I think that's hilarious. That is great.
It's true.
All right, so let me ask
You
you.
know what? You might not find somebody that covers all the bases.
Agreed. So let's just say you can't find your person, right? Is it okay to keep a roster then?
I think until you either find the person, or if you believe that one of those people might be, they check off enough of the boxes, so to speak, to consider taking it a little bit further. Because that's the thing, is like, no, like you said, nobody's perfect. Nobody's going to be, able to provide everything for you. But at the same time, like, you have to have enough that it keeps you around, that it keeps you interested, that you feel like you're fulfilled, and they're doing the things that you want to, kind of like level up for.
Okay.
Like, it obviously there's going to be certain things that are going to be, non-negotiables. Like, if your love language is physical touch and they are not good in bed, it doesn't matter what else they do.
Yeah.
If that one thing is lacking, it's not going to work. you know I mean, I feel like that's I using sex as an example, I feel like is kind of like, I feel like there's so many different opinions on that. Like, they say that sex fades, and not everyone's going to be as attractive in 20, 30 years. But at the same time, if you don't have the passion behind that
Mm.
to begin with, I feel like it kind of ties everything else in together as well. But, or like you said, the girl that was like, I need attention. If she is not getting that need met, she's not even going to look at anything else that you can do for her. So if like,
No, I figured. I figured. No, yeah, that's why I knew that was it. The moment she said, "I need someone to constantly be like on me," and I'm like, yeah, I just know that's not me. Good point. Good point. Okay, so I like the theme that's been said constantly by you, and it's options, specifically having a lot of options, right? So let me ask you this: when it comes to dating and when it comes to jobs, there's always a probation period, right? Do you think it's okay to date multiple people during that probation period? Just like a job, is it okay to hire multiple people for a job for one position? Again,
that is a very interesting topic.
a probation period
Oh,
doesn't mean that they're all gonna pass. It means that you may be looking for one or two person down the line.
I recently dated somebody that about 2 weeks in, they had asked that, we delete all the apps, and that we just kind of see how things went just between us, because at least that way we would know you know, if we vibed without any kind of like outliers, no outside influences, so to speak.
So no more distractions, no options.
No distractions, yeah. In
Sounds fair.
retrospect, it's kind of, yeah, and it seemed fair, because like, if somebody else comes in and swoops you off my feet because they decided to go get me that seafood tower, how do I know that I didn't just miss out on my soulmate because of something stupid or like that?
I'm starting to think you love
I
seafood
get it.
towers.
It's just a great example. It's so expensive. Like, it's like, why is it like, it's like, why am I spending the amount of an entire meal on an appetizer? I don't know. It's just a good one. I do love seafood, though. If you guys want to, anyone wants to take me to dinner, put it out there.
Go on,
I
go
do like my late no.
on.
um, but okay, so at the moment, it did seem like it was a good idea. It made sense, like, why would I want to, flood the market when I'm really just trying to focus on this one person, get to know them, see if we connect. It made sense.
Yeah, theoretically the right thing to do. Theoretically.
Theoretically the right thing to do. Looking
And
back at it, now I'm realizing that it wasn't that
realistically,
as much. Yeah, it was more of an insecurity thing, in my opinion. I don't
to
know.
him or to
I'm
you?
not. I'm not them. I'm not them. So I don't know. I can't speak for them. But from what I interpret it as, from my perspective of what their reasoning for asking me that was an insecurity thing, because they saw my Tinder, they saw how many people I had that liked me, and like, they told me that they had issues with people that, like cheated on them or left them from somebody different or whatever. And it's like, okay, I see that you just didn't want any competition because you didn't want me to choose somebody else over you. But at the same time, it's like, if you're that confident in yourself, like, why should that matter?
Okay,
Like,
let me
you
rephrase this.
know,
Is it insecure to not want to compete for one girl over? Is it insecure to not want to compete against 1,000 people for one girl?
I mean, it also comes down to like trust too. You know, if we have the conversation and we are like, okay, we're open, we're dating other
How much
people, but like
trust
whatever.
does
But
someone have if they're competing for you over 1,000 people?
little competition never hurt anybody. You
I
see somebody's
agree.
best potential when they have somebody like when they think like I feel like by eliminating the possibility of there even being another option, it gave them the option of being content with it,
Oh my
showing their
god.
true colors and just thinking that like I was just gonna keep going along with it.
Oh my god, we're
Like,
fucked. Sam, I just realized something. We're fucked. We're fucked so badly right now. Look at it this way. If I'm competing for one girl's attention versus 1,000 guys, isn't it easier to compete against a married woman who only has one guy? Think about it. I'm fighting 1,000 person. All I have to do is fight one person. A married whoever the person is in a marriage. Isn't it easier to get a girl that's married than a girl that has 1,000 people after her?
yeah, yeah, that is how fucked you are.
We're
It's
fucked.
true. Yeah,
No one is safe.
no one's safe.
Let,
It's true. And think about it, like even like, you know, you're friends with people. You're friends with guys, you know, like they're gonna sit there and wait until that one guy slips up, you know?
yes, and then they'll chase after your girl.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh,
'Cause they know they only have one person that they're fighting for. They'll stick
they'll
around.
fight exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Like, don't get me wrong. Competition is good. Competition is supposed to make you better. I get that. But if I only have one person to compete against, fuck yes. And especially if it's a marriage that's a little bit older, so he's not giving her as much attention, not giving her. People fall off here and there, and if you pick up the slack, this is no wonder people cheat. Let,
Yeah.
let me go to chat real quick. Boogity says, sorry, Boogity, for taking so long to respond. Boogity says, what's more impressive is getting picked up in a Lambo or going back. Oh, which one is more impressive to you, Sam? Getting picked up in a
Mm-hmm.
Lambo or going back to a decent sized home on the first date?
And it's very funny that you bring that up because me and my friends used to joke about that all the time. I used to live in South Beach, and everybody wants to impress everybody. It's all about, you know, your clothes and, you know, like your cars and everything. And we used to joke about how these guys would pick you up in their Lamborghini and they'd take you back to their efficiency studio where you could literally be like sitting on the toilet and like cooking your food off your hot plate at the same time. It's people's priorities, man. I don't know. Like personally, I would rather have you have a decent sized house because that could be something that you is an investment. Like you can have a family there, or you know, like if you own property, obviously. Like if you're just sitting there renting a big house just to you know be like, hey, I have this mansion. Like, but there's people that do that too. People will sit there and spend every single cent that they have on you know like these things that don't even really matter just to show that you know like they are this kind of like person and then when it comes down to it like those are the people you should have those financial conversations with sooner rather than later. How much money did you really put into that?
Damn.
It's a show, it really is.
But it is a show. It also makes sense because let's think about it. You said South Beach, Miami. I've lived in Miami. Image matters so much.
Mm-hmm.
The cars you drove around with matters so much, right? I had I have not had I had a 2006 convertible, my very first car ever, right? I was just excited that I finally got my first car. And then driving that around in Miami, I looked like a bum. An absolute bum. I thought I was the coolest fucking person ever because I'm like, oh, it's a convertible, so you just drop it down. What's up, girl? How you doing? I look like a
Hmm.
bum compared to everybody else in all their Lambos, the Lamborghinis. These are the things that they use to attract the women. That's the bait. The
Hmm.
car isn't just for us. It's to attract you guys, right? All the clothes that we wear is to attract you guys. It's all bait. It's like, hey, let me take you on a trip. It's to attract you guys. Think about it, Sam. I, you guys have the most powerful resource between your legs. Like, wars have been started over women, right? Countries have
Hmm.
fallen over. People will have died, will give their life over women. Like, I'm like thinking about it. I'm like, when in case of an emergency, what did I say? Women and children first, right? When it comes to saving lives, you, please let her go. How many people you heard like, I'll die for my wife? I don't hear, and this is just TVs and movie shows. I don't hear a lot of TV and movie shows like, I'll die for my man. I don't hear that common
Yeah.
theme. I don't. I hear I'm a strong, independent woman. I can take care of myself.
That's
But
true.
men will like get the house, the nice house, not for us, for you. Because you remember what you just said? Oh, this looks like a place that I could possibly raise a family in. This looks like somewhere I could see myself being
Hmm. And then what do women do? You get divorced and then they keep it. And then they take it.
in. We're
So
fucked.
when we're looking
We're
at this
fucked.
stuff, we're not technically looking at it for the potential for that. It's like it would, the whole what's yours is mine and what's mine is mine situation.
Yeah.
I know somebody that actually just broke up with somebody because of that situation. They dating somebody that made, same if not more money than them, like was going places, super successful, and they're sitting there having the conversation about like let's move in together. Up to that point, he had paid for every single thing that they have ever done, every trip, like gone on vacations, every dinner, like, like she never like opened her wallet once the entire time. So when the conversation came to, okay, let's move in together, he brought up the, okay, so are we going to be like splitting the rent, or like how do you want to do it? Like I'll pay rent, you pay utilities. Like wasn't even sitting there saying it's like a half half. Like let's just talk about it. Like let's figure it out. Like you do utilities and buy groceries or something like that. Just like regular living expenses. Like how are you going to contribute to this relationship now that we are taking it to this next level? And she lost her shit because she thought that it was the guy's job to do that. But meanwhile, she's making the same amount, if not more money than him. So that's where it's a little confusing. So you're telling me that you get to keep all your stuff, but you also want him to provide for you as well because that's just what the guy's supposed to do. It's not.
See, this
Women
is
are
why.
so hyper independent now, but then they also don't want to contribute when it comes to actually being in a partnership. Like we fought so hard to be able to have like our own finances and like to climb up that corporate ladder and all of that, and now it's like you almost like don't want to give it away because it's like it's taking away your power, but it's messing with relationships now because you see like people are like, oh, the guys are supposed to be the ones that take care of this stuff, but all of these rules were all made back when women were just like barefoot and pregnant and like they didn't leave the house, they just took care of the kids all day. So it's like that was what women's contribution to the household was tending house and taking care of the kids and raising them. Now that like most houses, I'd say the majority of them have two incomes.
Hmm.
So how is that not something that should be brought into the situation as an equal contribution?
I've constantly said this over and over. Men don't care about women's money. And you know why? Because it never helps us. Your money is your money. My money is our money. Yes. When I meet a girl and I'm on a first date and she's like, yeah, yeah, I have my own money. I have my own, I'm big and successful. I'm like, great. That's amazing for you. I don't need a man. I'm like, all right, why are you on a date right now? I don't need a man. But when she keeps constantly bragging about her money, I have no interest whatsoever. I don't.
You know you're never gonna see it.
Exactly. Exactly.
Right? Does that mean you're picking up the check? No? Okay. Good job.
Exactly. Yo, and the audacity you have, like, oh, well, you have your own money. Yeah, let's split the bill. Never seen her again. Never. Never. Yo, I'll tell you about this one date. This was the happiest I've ever been on a date, right? Like, we had drinks whatsoever. I went to the bathroom to pee, right? I was like, hey, let's get ready to leave, but let me use the bathroom real quick. Went to the bathroom to pee, came back. She paid the whole bill. I was like, wait, what? Paid the whole bill? She was like, yeah, I got this. I was like, I was ecstatic. Sam, when I tell you I couldn't stop cheesing, I was grinning. Sam, I never saw that girl again.
Here, 'cause you never saw her again?
Never saw her again. That girl
Really?
ghosted me immediately. And I don't know what's a ghosting call, but like literally no messages, nothing, just completely cut off. Never saw her again.
That's interesting. Okay, so I have a little bit of insight on that, and it's probably going to be completely wrong. But
Bring
when
it
you
on.
said that, I was literally going to be like, that's usually a girl's thing to do. That's what we do. Comes to the end of the night, you know the check's going to come soon. What do? I'm just going to run to the bathroom real quick. Because that's when you usually pick up the bill.
No,
And
but I really
as
needed to
somebody
pee
that's
though because
been
we
in
were
the hospital-
drinking. I was gonna pay.
I
Wait,
know, but
my card was
you have to
at
think of it
the
from-
the thing.
you have to think of it from our perspective though, because that's what we do. When we don't want to pay the bill, or we don't want to go and deal with like that awkward situation where they come and like who's going to take it first.
So she thought
So
I didn't
it's
want to
just,
pay
like,
the bill.
It's understood that when the bill comes, the other party quietly walks away to go do something so that it, minimizes the conflict or the situation. So she thought you were the girl, and you were pulling that move. So she was like,
I don't,
this is
but
funny.
my
I'm paying the bill.
the bartender had my card for the tab. The bartender had my card for the tab. Because when we get there, you had to like, hey, can we get a card to keep the tab open? They had my information. We were drinking. We were like four rounds in.
For all she knew, you went and you picked up your card and you were out that door.
So
You're welcome. Did I just give you some closure?
yeah, I mean, yo, but it's ridiculous because I came back and I'm like, wait, are you serious? No, she's like, no, I got this. What?
Yeah. Welcome to our world. I'm so glad I was able to provide you that closure.
Thank you, because
State of my life.
it's never been more of a confusion. I'm so cynical to the point where it's like, no, I'm paying. Shut the fuck up. I'm paying. Even at times when I want to split it, I'm like, fuck it. No. I'm paying. Because I know if I do, chances are I'm never, ever going to see this girl again. Split it, chances are you're never going to see her again.
Well, now you know you go to the bathroom before it comes to the end of the meal. You have to do-
Yeah. It's all a strategy. It's all a strategy.
Well, and then, think about it, because like for girls, like that also saves from that awkward like moment where like the guy's gonna pay, but you still have to look like you're gonna offer. So you
Then
have to
do
open
the
up your
dance.
bag
That's why I said we
slowly and
appreciate
just
the
kinda
dance.
put this inside the bag, and you're like, oh, well, it's somewhere. Like
That's the dance.
Mary Poppins, like
Yeah, do the
go get
dance,
things and
Sam.
credit you. Oh, wait, I didn't have anything anyways. I didn't even bring cash. Sorry.
Oh my, that's a turn off. The fact when you don't do the dance, that's a turn off.
But it's so awkward, and we all know that it's just for show. You know I'm not paying. I know I'm not paying. Like, why do I have to do this? So instead, I politely excuse myself to the bathroom, go and powder my nose, get myself all cleaned up, whatever.
Yeah.
And then if I come back and the bill is paid, maybe you'll get paid. I don't know.
This comes down to communication then. Clearly we're all communicating differently.
Yeah.
Okay, so let me I'm gonna use that to transition into the next topic.
Okay.
Who is better at communication, men or women?
Ooh. So this is I've actually thought about this a lot lately. I think that women believe that they're better communicators because we like to talk so much and we're all about talking about our feelings and but they're not necessarily it's not really effective sometimes. Like sometimes we just like bitch to bitch and it's like very like elusive like you got to read between the lines like I'm going to tell you something like sometimes I don't want your advice. Sometimes I just want to vent just to vent, but you think that I do and then I take offense to it or I think you're telling me what to do. Like it's all over the place. With guys, however, I think women think guys don't are good communicators, but the problem with it is we just don't believe them when they tell us something. When a guy tells you something, just believe it. Like if a guy sits there and goes, "I don't talk about my feelings," you believe him because the next time you try to talk to him about feelings, they're gonna shut you down. Or if a guy says, like, I'm trying to think of another example here. Like I don't like going to like parties or something like that. Like I don't like going out with like friends. I'm like kind of like low key. You're gonna take that and you're gonna be like, oh yeah, but like what about the we can do it still every once in a while, or like maybe they just don't want to do it all the time. Like no, that guy really does not want to be there at all. But instead of us taking it at face value, we're gonna keep pushing. We're gonna keep bringing you out. Oh, maybe we can change his mind. He'll learn
Maybe
to like it.
maybe I can change his mind. Maybe he'll learn to like it. Read the chat real quick and tell me what your response would be for Boogity. So Boogity says that men are better communicators.
And then shut it down when it comes to it. Okay, so it depends on when the communication is happening because there's a time and a place for everything and I feel like from my experience guys don't want to talk about anything, they don't want to communicate, and then when they do it's usually like when you're not even like anywhere near the frame of mind to be able to do it. And it's usually like at that point like it's like okay fine, you want to talk about your feelings, let's do it. And it's like no, now my feelings are all like all over the place and they're larger than life and like I can't even contain them myself. I definitely want to talk to you about
Wait,
it,
wait, 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 wait. Those are two different things. Yeah. Stop, stop. I'm streaming. Stop. Saraja. Stop. Sorry, I think my niece is trying to get in. Uh, sorry. Those are two different things.
so
Give me 1 second, guys. I'm so sorry. Give me 1 second.
yeah, take your time.
My check, my
Craig,
check.
yep, sent you a message.
Yeah. All right. This is our last. This is our last topic. I didn't realize we went so much over. We're up to 2 hours now. Okay.
Lots to talk about.
Yeah, yeah, definitely, definitely. Okay. Let me rewind and communication versus emotional openness are two different things, right? Like talking about our feelings, it's a form of communication, but it's not communication. Communication is me telling you, is me conveying information towards you, right? Opening up, that being emotionally available, that's a whole different thing. Like I'm a huge person on like men shouldn't really be completely open up to women, right? Because I've seen it numerous times based off experience. It backfires and it blows up in your face. I don't think men should cry in front of women. Cry in front of your boys, cry in front of anybody else, but don't cry in front of your woman. She will lose respect for you. She will lose attractiveness towards you. But you can learn to effectively communicate to a woman because, again, that's how you get shit done. All right, you can jump in now.
So, whole crying in front of women thing, I feel like definitely you should try to address the situation before it gets to that point. I have been in situations where I have had guys cry in front of me, and it's very, very uncomfortable, especially if you know that you're the reason that they're doing it. Mainly just because of, there's like that stigma, boys don't cry. And then, like, it goes from that to, like, I feel like for a man to cry in front of a woman, like, it has to, like, get past that boiling point. Like, there's something that's bubbling over, like, to the point that, like, that's the only reaction that they have. Like, that's it. So if you're to that point, that means that there's definitely a huge disconnect somewhere. What I
It,
feel is like anybody can sit there and talk about their feelings and be like, I'm sad, I'm frustrated, I'm this. But nobody ever talks about the second part of that sentence, the why part. Like, I am frustrated because, and then you figure out what's making you frustrated. And that opens up the line of communication. That's where the dialogue comes into play. And you have to be talking to somebody that is willing to reciprocate in that dialogue. Like, otherwise, it's just a monologue and you're just talking to a brick wall. And that's the problem is like, as soon as some people will hear you talking about your feelings, they just think you're just kind of like nagging at them, or like, or they take it offensively and they're just like, oh, well, you're just telling me everything that I'm doing wrong. Like, so why am I going to sit there and waste my time listening to that? Like, when you come up with your because or your why, your, response, like, you have to make sure that it's not focusing on the other person's actions as much as it is behaviors behind their actions, like okay, so say I'm frustrated because you stood me up, or you never called me. Is it a pattern, or is this like an isolated event? Like, if it's something where it's happened multiple times, then that's another story. Now you need to talk about, like, okay, you never called me at this time. But if it's like something that just kind of happened one time, like slipped their mind, or they got really busy, they got hung up or whatever, like, if depending on how you address the situation, it could make it seem like it's a lot more accusatory than it really is, and the other person's immediately going to be on the defense.
mm-hmm.
And if they feel like every single time that they ask you to open up about their feelings that you're going to be on the defense, you're not going to want to listen to it after a while. Like, why should you have to defend yourself over how somebody else feels? Like, your feelings are your feelings, my feelings are my feelings, but yes, I may be responsible for how you feel, but it's your choice to feel that way about the way that I acted. So let's figure out where that disconnect is. Like, what did I do
Yeah.
that made you feel that way? And how can we change that? You know?
Okay, so let me go back to the question. You've given me extensive like explanation, but in your opinion, who's a better communicator, men or women?
I think men are better communicators and that women just don't listen to it.
Okay. Do you believe that sometimes women expect you to read their mind? The women, the
100%.
okay. Uh,
100%.
are men mind readers? Do we have that?
Absolutely
That's a superpower, right? Some would say.
not.
Okay. So, you ever been in a relationship before and you just gave your man a look and you expect him to know what it is, what it means.
Mhm. Listen, I'll throw myself under the bus here, and like I'm okay doing that because like I said, nobody is perfect. But I had a situation where I had plans that were like potentially going to happen. They said they were going to touch base the day before just to confirm, but they really weren't sure if it was going to work out. Talked to them, like they didn't end up confirming that night. Talked to them the day of, and they start going on about like things are like really crazy at work. I got called in to do this, and then this happened, and then this was with like my kid, and like all these things that they're like all stressed out about that they had to do that day. And in my head, I'm thinking, okay, but what about the thing that we were supposed to do this day? And then they go, but it's okay because I found the shirt that I was missing in my drawer, and it just fits me perfectly, and like, and it was great because at least that turned my day around. And they never addressed the fact that they never specifically let me back that up. They never specifically addressed that the date was not happening. All they did was give me all the supporting evidence of like all these other things that were happening in the day as
Why
to the
didn't you
reason
ask?
I put in. So here I'm like, okay, I'm so glad that you decided to go and search for this shirt that just made you so happy, but maybe you could have led with the fact that like, hey, you're so we're not doing this date, like you just told me all this other stuff, but you didn't specifically say this, like, and they got upset with me, and they're like, you're mad at me because I did not tell you things in the order that you wanted me to. It's like I was gonna get there.
Wait, did you ask him if we're still on for the date?
So they had just gone on about like all this stuff, then talked about the good thing that happened to them, and then after that I was like, so I'm assuming the date's not gonna happen, like, and their thing was, well, I was getting there, but I hadn't gotten there yet, and they're like, well, I just told you everything that I have to do today, so I thought that meant that you would know that the date's not gonna happen.
Now that's terrible communication from him. He needed to
It
wrap
is.
that up. He needed to just get straight to the point.
Yeah. But in his eyes, he looked at me as like I didn't like he didn't give me the information in the order that I expected it to be.
That sounds like gaslighted. Yeah, no. It's a simple.
Maybe I changed my answer about men being better communicators then.
Well, you kind of like supported it where you just like, you said it before. If a man tell you exactly who he is and what he wants, believe him.
Yeah.
Like, you don't need to
If
go
they tell you
around
they
the
have
bush.
shortcomings in certain things, it's not your job to fix it.
Yeah, yeah.
That's a problem. Too many people fall in love with somebody's potential.
You know,
Potential is
we
a
got to
huge
save
thing.
that for our next time when we talk about. That's a whole
That
nother.
is a whole other. Yeah.
All right, let's wrap it up. Let's wrap it up. Okay, so once again, let's start from the top. Um, I personally don't believe if you're making $50,000, I think you can date at any level, but I think you should date within your financial needs, right? No, financial means, right? If you, let's just say, if you have a certain amount of money in your bank account, stick to cheap dates, stick to simple dates. The number one goal for a first date is to have fun and to get to know the person. That's it. It's not about what you can provide or what they can provide. It's about getting to know the person. We got to get back to the root of dating. We got to get back to that. Um, any last note about the expensive being $50,000 thing?
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I think we need to get back to our roots and stop, thinking that we have to put on these shows to be able to be worthy of somebody's attention, to be able to even, begin to get to know somebody. And, like the status quo doesn't have to be what it is. And, everybody's breaking cycles left and right nowadays. So I
Yeah.
feel like this is something that needs to be done as well. The dating game needs to be broken.
Okay. So knowing that dating is expensive, right? Is this going to change your perspective moving forward to future dates?
I think it will. I think I'll go into it, thinking about it a little bit more, differently. Um, and like if I still want to go out on a nice dinner date, maybe save that to the second date. See if that person's worthy of spending that money on.
I like
But that
that.
means I'm probably not going to wear that sexy lingerie on the first date, though.
So sex and lingerie means date or date.
Yeah, there you go.
Honestly,
I'm not wearing that to coffee.
listen, guys care. Don't get me wrong, but at the same time, we care more what you look like naked. We do. That lingerie is gonna be off within 10 seconds. It's like 10 seconds of oh my god, wow, wow, yes, woo, and then it's gone. It's gone. So all that money's gone in 10 seconds. All right, yo, chat. Do you have any final questions, chat? If you have any final questions, feel free to ask. We're about to end the stream. If you have any questions for me or for Sam, we're here. Sam, thank you so much for doing this with me. It's our first one. We'll get better. We'll be more structured. We'll get better. We'll get better. If you have any questions or any feedback, please feel free to text me and let me know. Um, Chat seems to be okay. All right. So thank you so much. All right. Thank you for having. I appreciate you. Okay.
Thanks. Have a good night.
Okay. Bye, Sam.
Bye.
Boogity, of course you're gonna ask that. Hold on. I gotta turn off my camera first. Give me a second, Boogity. Where's my camera? Where's my camera? There we go. He said, "What's her snap?" Let me ask her if she wants to share that first. All right. You know what I'll do? I'll ask her for like a social media that she feels comfortable sharing, and then that way the next time I can put it underneath her camera so everybody can just add it that way. Okay. Oh, she has no Snapchat. No Snapchat. I'm sorry, Boogity. I'm sorry. All right, listen. Boogity and Nicholas, thank you so much for hanging out with us. I appreciate it. It's the first of many. We're gonna be more consistent with it. We're probably gonna push for ideally 2 times a week. So we'll figure out the time until we have a specific schedule. Guys, thank you guys so much, man. I appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you for hanging out with us. Thank you for if you have any dating questions, guys, write them down and feel free to come by the stream and ask them, okay? Thank you guys. All right, everyone, have a good night. Cheers.